Hello and welcome to our review of Ninja Gaiden 2 for the Xbox 360. The Ninja Gaiden series of games started off a long time ago on the Nintendo Entertainment System, then after taking a few years off, began again a few years ago on the original Xbox, and it's since transitioned to the Xbox 360. Ninja Gaiden 2 picks off right where Ninja Gaiden 1 left off in terms of story and just gameplay in general. For those of you who had trouble with what was called one of the most difficult games of all time in Ninja Gaiden 1, you're going to have just as hard time in this game, even though they've ratcheted down the difficulty a little bit, at least as far as the earlier levels go. As the game progresses, it gets more difficult, and that same old frustration will kick back in. Having myself completed the original Xbox game, I understand that these games tend to get a lot of flack from people who just can't quite get into the combat, can't handle the difficulty, and a lot of people praise them for being difficult games when a lot of other games have been dumbed down. That being said, this game is a little bit difficult just for the sake of being difficult. There are parts that, if you're good at Ninja Gaiden, you should be able to get through no problem. But then there's parts, especially a lot of enemies that feature projectiles, that just seem to be thrown in just to piss you off. And stuff like that really makes this game sometimes more annoying than actually fun. And as annoying as the game can be, when the combat is working, which is most of the time, the game is a real blast to play. And this time around, Team Ninja has really ramped up not only the amount of enemies that they throw at you, but also the amount of blood and gore that the game features. And not only does this make you feel like you're this amazing ninja who can just pretty much kill anyone or anything that the game throws at you, it also allows you to basically dismember any bad guy that comes your way. You can basically cut off an arm, a leg, a head of these bad guys, and even if they're wounded, they'll still keep attacking you, and sometimes even the wounded bad guys can inflict more damage than regular bad guys, so it's important to take down the wounded ones as soon as possible. And this can be done just by going up to them and pressing Y, where Ryu will do a little finishing move on them and pretty much just obliterate them. Also this time around, Team Ninja decided to include more save points, and this time when you first use a save point, it'll restore your health, something that the previous game didn't do. And to make it even more accessible for regular players, they also decided to regenerate health when you're done facing a group of bad guys. This doesn't mean that all your health will be regenerated, because some attacks amount to permanent damage to Ryu, although this can be reclaimed using items or orbs or saving the game. This game also features more weapons and ninpo than the previous Ninja Gaiden, and unlike the weapons in the previous game, which tended to just be either too slow or too weak, the weapons in this game are a blast to play with, and each have their own unique strengths and weaknesses. You're definitely going to at least want to try out these Wolverine-type claws, which basically let you slice and dice bad guys fairly quickly, and like I said before, each one of them tends to have a certain use against a certain type of bad guy, and you'll find yourself going back and trying out every single one of them. This game also, like the previous game, has a ton of different boss battles, pretty much either 1 or 2 per level, and these, like the previous game, can be both fun and frustrating. A lot of times these bad guys have these just super moves that'll basically just wipe you out with 1 or 2 hits, and there really isn't a lot of pattern to some of them, so a lot of it's just kind of trial and error to see what works and what doesn't. And as good as you are at the game, be prepared to fight these bosses a few different times. I had a hard time beating any of these bosses first try, and I doubt that you'll have much more success. It's just the way the game works. It's a very, old school feeling game in that respect. It hasn't really, as much as they've tried to make it more accessible to gamers, it's still a pretty difficult game, and if you go into it thinking that it's just going to be a walk in the park, it's going to hand you your ass time and time again. And for that reason, I think unless you're kind of a hardcore gamer, someone who's willing to, keep trying and trying and trying it again until you get something right, then this game is just going to frustrate you, and you'll probably end up either throwing the controller through the screen or writing an angry email to Team Ninja. And as much as Ninja Gaiden 1 was a graphical powerhouse for the original Xbox, Ninja Gaiden 2 tends to look very similar to that game. You can tell that they pretty much are sticking with the same engine, although it's, it is upgraded. There are better effects, more bad guys on screen, and the frame rate stays pretty stable. It's too bad that they couldn't really, up the graphics to make them compete with some of the other next-gen games. Not saying this game looks bad, it's just compared to the previous game, there really isn't that big of a jump in terms of graphics. The game also, as far as story goes, these Ninja Gaiden games are pretty much nonsensical. If you're playing these games for the story, you need to go somewhere else because you're not going to understand what the heck's going on. It involves these things called fiends, which are basically demons trying to take over the world, and the CIA, and who knows what's going on most of the time. And it's too bad because a good story would have added a lot to the game, but this one doesn't have it at all. Overall, Ninja Gaiden 2 gets an 85 out of 100 and is not for the faint at heart. If you want to learn more about this game or others like it, please click the link to the right of the description. See you next time.